Hey, the PMP exam is one of the most difficult tests for professionals, and we've heard this from everyone. But not to worry, you have a coach who eats the PMBOK for lunch. Here he is to set the record straight for you, your friend Phil.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, my friends. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Lots of you got certified on my watch for the PMP exam, and I thought I had a duty to remind you that the PMP exam is not the end of the story. In fact, it's the beginning of the story. It's definitely not the end of the story. Because you do know that you have many, many more years of mileage, right? Some of you, I was speaking to an acquaintance this afternoon and he said, Phil, I'm tapping out in May. In my mind, I thought, well, the hounds of Agile won't be out to get you. You'll probably escape fair enough, looking at May being the time you want to check out. But if you keep working from May forward, 2022, 24, 30, the Agile hounds will catch up with you, whether you like it or not. They're coming. The Agile hounds might even already be at your workplace. They've been let out of the gate. I'm happy to tell you, because it's for your own good. When your company says quicker, cheaper, deliver goods to me at a pace that will put me ahead, what comes to mind? Let's be honest, it's not predictive anymore. No, it's not. It's not just any old project management anymore. No, it's not. At worst, it's hybrid. But you know that it's truly Agile that has come to stay. My friends, if you have not read this book, The Agile Practice Guide, you don't have a copy of it, you're in the dark ages. If you're a PMP, you need to get a copy of this book and start reading it. Now, tonight, I will be sharing with you 10 important facts that you need to know to get you in ship shape for the Agile revolution. Just 10 random things that I feel you should be aware of. And some of them are from our friends at the PM&I, and some of them are from our friends at Capterra and other firms worldwide. But this will give you a great idea as to why you need to get on the Agile bandwagon. It's no longer a luxury. I know you hate the sound of Agile, some of you. You think it's a bunch of baloney. It's a bunch of nonsense. But I'm going to show you tonight why Agile has come to stay and why you should be paying attention. Now, in my archives in this library, I've got books dating back decades, and I happened to pick up a book, one of my favorite books. I've talked about it many times on this channel. It's Management, and it's by Plunkett, Atner, and Allen. And I was flipping through the book, just wondering, 2002, who was even thinking about Agile in 2010, let alone 2002? Now, 2002 is like the dark ages, because the only mention of Agile that I found here was Agile manufacturing. It had no mention of Scrum. It had no mention of Kanban. Well, that had been around for a while before, but it had no mention of many of the Agile methods that we know today. And I'm talking about 18 years ago. But there was a massive rapid shift between 2010 and now, just 10 years. There are so many books, there's so much literature. The PMI have changed the business model. Now, they'll tell you they haven't, but I know they have. They have. They're trying to appeal to the millennials coming up behind us. That's for one. Don't even let me go there this evening, because I can open up a can of worms. But they have changed their model, right? A lot of things are beginning to echo Agile throughout the way they do stuff. And I'm going to show you some very important stats from the PMI, just so that you'll be aware. of what is going on in the world of Agile. So why don't we get started? By the way, if you have questions, look for that chat box. Look for that live chat box. There actually should be one. And if there's not one, then we need to make one. So let's turn that live chat on so that we can speak to some of our friends. Those of you PMPs, if you are a PMP, I want you to chat in a hi in the chat box that way. Let me know that you're here so I can mark you present. You will avoid being reported to the PMI for Agile ignorance. Agile ignorant. Do you have Agile illiterates in your firm? I've seen many of them. They don't even know the meaning of the word. All right, let's talk about Agile tonight, my friends. Don't get all emotional. I'm only joking. I call this a case for Agile. It is very important that we as project managers should be Agile literate. And for that reason, the agileprinciple.com website is one I want you to go to and sign up for programs that are available. For example, we've got a program starting on Saturday for those folks who need to know more about Agile and are wondering, Phil, how can I do this in a sensible fashion? I trust your training. I trust your tutelage. Help me. Well, I've listened to you, and I'm bringing to you on Saturday with my buddy, Roy, who is a phenomenal Agile coach, extremely patient and very knowledgeable. He'll answer your questions, all right? But we're dishing out an 8-week Agile course to anyone who is serious about Agile. Fast facts about Agile. Organizations increasingly embrace Agile as a technique for managing projects. A full 71% of organizations report using Agile approaches on their projects, sometimes, often, or always. And if you take a look at this graphic, it underscores this point. This is from the PMI's Thought Leadership series, The Pulse of the Profession, which some of you may have read. But isn't that a very startling fact that 71% of organizations report using Agile approaches, even if it's just one approach, even if it's just 2 out of the many? It's something to be aware of, my friends. It's something to be curious about, to be relevant. It's something that you need to know about if you are in a PMO. If you are managing projects, hey, if you are spending stakeholder funds in your company as a project manager and you don't know about Agile, you need to know about Agile because that means you're in the dark ages. If you don't know how to apply any Agile, I want to encourage you, my friends. You need to know this stuff. I know it sounds irritating to you, some of you, but you need to know this stuff. I was in an organization, I remember, I know how annoying it can be. I was in a firm once and management said, thou shalt read this and do this, and you will no longer use system X. You will now use system Y. And from henceforth, all the earned value computations and calculations will no longer be done in this spreadsheet. You will now do it in this system henceforth. I was like, what on earth? I've spent almost a year studying this system. Now you want to throw me on another? And all my predecessors got crazy as well. And they said, no, we're not doing it. They were crazy. They didn't even want to hear about what management had to say about it because they felt 20 years of their life was spent in this system. So I can understand those of you who have been in the world of waterfall, you've been in the world of predictive. Then here we come saying, oh, there's a second way. I know how you feel about it. I know. Trust me, I've been there before. I was sitting down in a classroom when the PMI Phoenix chapter decided to bring in one of the best Agile trainers that I've ever experienced, Tom, to Phoenix. And Tom bashed nonsense out of predictive. He made us feel like our PMPs had been a waste of time. I mean, If you know Tom, you'd know that he's that magnetic and that fiery. He gets under your skin, I tell you. But by the time he was done, he had made a case for Agile. And I'm talking about back in 2011, 2012, when things were just warming up. But by the time he was done, I realized, wow, there's a different way. I really need to get certified. So before I left the class that day, I took my exam and I became a certified Scrum Master with the Scrum Alliance. And of course, he gave me the Kool-Aid. I drank the Kool-Aid. By the time he was done with me, I knew the history, the past, the present, the future of Agile. Just like it should be. He schooled me. He schooled all of us. Now, some of us resisted him. I don't know where those people are today, but I know where I am. I'm right there in the forefront, trying to preach the message to you PMPs that if you haven't embraced Agile, you should. You should. Low stakes. Agile is not like those crazy software apps like the one I just talked about. It's not even an app. Let's just call it an ERP system. Without the system I'm talking about, many organizations will fold up tomorrow. So Agile is not like that. Agile is an equal opportunity employer. It gives everybody the option of embracing it. It's not some fancy, cost prohibitive software. It's very accessible. It's very, very easy for you to begin to get your feet wet in Agile. Seriously. So when you take a look at the stats on the screen, I hope it makes sense why you should be thinking about Agile. You really should. Okay? And not just software. Not just software. You see, a lot of people make that mistake thinking, oh, it's just software. It's just for those coding boys, those cowboys. No, it's not. Agile is a way of thinking. It's a way of processing ideas. It's not just project management. A lot of people get it wrong. No. Learning about Agile, trust me, it's going to save you a ton of money, a ton of heartache, and a ton of angry words from stakeholders. If you're a project manager, trust me on this one. It's a mindset, okay? You need to get into the mindset ASAP. So that's my first point. But before we go any further, I would also like to share some additional thoughts with you from our friends at the PMI. Mature value delivery capabilities. Value delivery capabilities are the full spectrum of competencies that enable organizations to deliver their projects and programs. Maturing these allows for quick adaptation to changing market conditions by balancing efficiency and creativity and promoting continuous improvement. Organizations then have the ability to minimize risk, control costs, and increase value. They make use of all approaches to project delivery: predictive, iterative, incremental, and agile, using the one that fits the needs of the project and the organization. So what are we trying to say here? If you are truly mature in delivering value, you will not ignore Agile. You will know that Agile is just one of the allotropes of delivery. So there's no point in getting all emotional about Agile when management says they want you to do something with it. Just suck it up. You know, Agile truly is a better mousetrap for many organizations. I want to show you something in this book before we go any further. I know many people are wondering how to read the book, but there's one page. If you do not read any other page yet, I want you to read this one page. All right, let's go to page 18. Can you follow along, PMPs, ACPs, CAPMs? Do you have that book? Let's go. What does it say? Approach, predictive, the requirements are fixed. How many of you work on projects where the requirements are truly always fixed? Many people might, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people work on projects where the requirements change so rapidly, it's almost unbelievable. One day you could have one set of requirements, the next day you've got another. I know, I've worked on projects like that. And I'm talking about even way back, like 2005, 2006, in a firm I was in, we'd started using RAD and JAD even back then because it's been around. Agile is not entirely new, but I can tell you that the changeability of requirements drove us up the wall, drove the coders up the wall. So we had to find a way to cope with it, and RAD is what we did. So if you're looking at page 18, you can see that the difference between predictive and all the others, iterative, incremental, and agile, is predictive has fixed requirements and all the others have dynamic requirements. You see why you need to be thinking about hybrid models versus just thinking about predictive? What about the activities for predictive? They are performed once for the entire project. But if you take a look at iterative, you see they are repeated until correct. Make sense? What about incremental? Performed once for a given increment. Agile, repeated until correct. You see the trend, the advantage Agile has? Let's go into the delivery. Predictive, the big bang, boom! It either worked or heaven help us. That's the thing about predictive. Until you throw the switch, you don't know if it's a success or failure. And if it's a failure, it's too late. Which is why, at a minimum, you want to be thinking about doing things in cycles. Incremental, the delivery is frequent, smaller deliveries. At least it's not going to be a big bang. If it's not going to work, we've got some warning signs. What about agile? Frequent, smaller deliveries. Iterative is a single delivery, but at least the activities are repeated until correct. So again, there's a safeguard in there. What about the goal of predictive? Don't we all know what it is? Chat into me if you know the goal of predictive project management. What is the goal? Why do we make it so predictive? Is it because we want to succeed? Or is it for quality? Or is it because of the schedule? It sounds like it could be because of the schedule, right? But it's not because of the schedule. You see, the reason why we do predictive is because we want to manage cost. That's pretty much it. Iterative, the goal is correctness of the solution. Incremental is the speed. And agile, hey, if you are taking any of the exams, listen up. Customer value via frequent deliveries and feedback. So when you take a look at this, you realize that the value we're delivering to the customer, the precision, agile, where possible, favors that very heavily. Agile isn't a bad word. Some companies, I know agile is a bad word, but it actually is a good word. It's a good word. Just like hybrid, a good word. Agile is a topic of growing importance. In project management, with 71% of organizations now reporting they use agile approaches to their projects, sometimes or more frequently than in the past. In fact, over the past 12 months, and at the time the PMI put this report together, that was 2017, it says 1 in 5 projects has used agile approaches, whereas another 1 in 5 has used hybrid or blended approaches. What does that tell you? Tells you agile has come to stay. It's not going anywhere. That I can tell you. Last but not least, perhaps as significant is the percentage of projects that used something other than agile, hybrid, or plan-driven approaches, which could be a further blend or customization of other approaches, 23%. So what is this telling us? It is telling us that agile has come to stay. Let's talk about champions in agile. Champions have a keen focus on using agile approaches to projects. 55% versus 24% of underperformers. Organizations such as Teradyne and Michelin are striving to be more agility focused. So what do you see from this slide? You see that 55% versus the 24% of underperformers use Agile. That is quite remarkable. In taking a look at how Teradyne did this, it says the first and foremost challenge we have is trying to integrate Agile into our existing project management framework. Sounds familiar? I know lots of us are trying to do this. But you know why it is such a challenge in many firms? It's because a lot of people are ignorant. So we as the PMPs, we need to be the ones coming in, telling people what exactly this stuff is all about, not resisting it. We only look dumb and ignorant when we resist something that has worked across many firms. So we need to get with the program. You know, a lot of PMPs, they say, well, I work in construction or I work in engineering. That's never going to work here. I work in hardware. That's never going to work here. You're in the dark ages. You can see that this engineering manager is talking about integrating Agile. It's here to stay. There is always a place where we can take elements of Agile, take elements of what works and use it. When asked for projects to be delivered sooner and for less money, the organization set up a number of pilot projects with project managers who have implemented Agile approaches at previous organizations. This is a hint that those of you who are looking to work in an Agile fashion, don't do it alone. And that's why I say, let me know how I can help you in your organization. Because it's either we can deliver training to begin to condition the minds of individuals to be more receptive to Agile, as we have in other firms, okay? Well-known tech hardware firm was closed off to Agile. But the moment they called us in to begin educating their people, what a difference. What a difference a day made. A lot of those who were resistant to it actually ended up going to drink the full Kool-Aid with the Scrum Alliance. We ended up delivering a certified Scrum Master training for them, and they drank the Kool-Aid, but it started off first by delivering Agile concepts in baby steps, expanding their concept of Agile, opening their minds to realizing it's not an evil word. So if that's your firm and you want my team, Roy, my Agile coach, and others to help you, let us know. You'll be amazed at what a little bit of intentional, deliberate, professional coaching can do to your engineering team. They might appear to be resistant. I don't blame them. I told you that story about the firm I was in, and they said, thou shalt use this. We don't know why you're making us use this. But you know what? At the end of the day, that system they asked us to use, it was more robust. The reports were a lot easier to run, but we had to buy into it. And they actually didn't do what I'm asking you. It wasn't by coaching and training and sense-making sessions. It wasn't through that. It was actually by wielding the whip, which was horrible. You know, it was like, well, if you don't get on the bandwagon, we're going to have to push you out of the door. That's no good. I'm not talking about that. Don't force Agile on your people. Deliver it to them in bite-sized bits. Let them make sense out of it gradually, and just give them a chance to learn it in a respectful, respectable manner, not beating them over the head. You know, like when management wants to change, they start whipping you and beating you. No, I'm not talking about that. That's not a good organization. That will not work. If you want to make them hate Agile, just do that. We're going to do this and have no change management whatsoever. Have no grieving process. No, don't do that. Let them make sense out of it. And then you realize the grieving process, grieving predictive or whatever you use, it won't be like that. They will understand it better. They will embrace it. Okay? So, moving on, let's talk about assessing the fit with intention. Willing and aware teams will evaluate the process and determine how Agile fits in with the rest of the organization's project management framework. Don't just shove it down people's throat. You have to analyze and look into, where does this work? Some organizations, Agile will only work right now in certain instances. It won't work in others because you're too far gone on a program or a project, or the customer is not yet receptive, or many other conditions. But there are some that you have to ask the question, where will this fit best? And if you think it will, like you saw on the previous slide, run a pilot. Fast fact regarding tools of Agile, Microsoft Project, everyone raves about Project. It's the most popular project management software, but Atlassian, Jira, you've heard about Jira, is the most popular Agile specific tool. So here's the second fact. In New Zealand, 80% of organizations rely on Prince 2 guidelines. Friends in New Zealand, get with the program. Things are changing. Prince 2, and I've done the Prince 2 foundation. Not bad. It's a methodology though. Times are changing, and even the good folks, they know that. Those who govern Prince 2, they know that. So things are changing. And let me also say of communication service providers, CSPs, that have adopted bimodal IT, 93% rely on Agile project management methodologies. And these are facts. This is from Gartner. Point 3, the average salary for an Agile software developer is $93,000. What? $93,000? Canadian dollars? No, US dollars. That's a lot of money. I actually want to debate that. I actually want to investigate that. 93,000? That is a lot of money. For those of you who might be wondering, where do I even begin if I'm searching for an Agile job? I want to give you a quick tip. If you're a PMP and you're looking to shift, from predictive into something more Agile, I want you to check out the website, just like I did. Check out dice.com, okay? And just type in the word Agile Project Manager, all the words, and just do a quick search. And you'll be amazed. Agile Project Manager, Scrum Project Manager, Technical Project Management, Agile, and the devil. Agile, the devil, and Waterfall. You see, I told you Agile isn't a devil. Waterfall and Agile, they mix. And they give you one of these things we call a gremlin. Not a bad gremlin, the good one, before it duplicated itself, right? And it's called hybrid, the hybrid gremlin, the good one, right? IT project manager with product development. But as you search through this stuff, you are going to find jobs that are purely Agile. You're going to find some that are hybrid. You're going to find some that are Scrum Master. And that's why I tell you, project managers, those of you who are PMPs, I've been preaching this thing for years. If you got PMP certified, stop looking like a deer in the headlights, or stop doing the victory jig for the next 2 years. Go get CSM certified. Become a CSM. And I'm talking about the real CSM, because you do know that in the world of Agile, we also have false prophets. We also have the greedy guzzlers who are trying to suck all your money and give you some bogus random certificate. Beware of that, okay? I want you to go to the Scrum Alliance website. That is where you need to be, and become a CSM. Please become a CSM. I actually wanted to bring in all of my study books way back from 2011, 2012 and show you the volume and the value that these classes offer. We offer those classes. So if you want your people to become CSM certified, let us know. We have certified Scrum trainers. But beware, because you also have other organizations that are trying to camouflage as some sort of Scrum messiah. Be careful with those. Just go to the source. The two that I tell you to look at for this, I tell you to look, one, at the Scrum Alliance. I tell you to also look at the Agile Alliance, and the PMI partnered with them on this thing. You see, that's their logo right there. You see that? Agile Alliance, AA. You don't want to go to the AAA? Go to the AA, the Agile Alliance. Seriously. And the Agile Alliance, while they're not offering certifications, my goodness, the amount of volume of treasure you can get from their videos, from their blogs, from their glossary. Wow. That's why the PMI had to partner up with the big dog. They didn't want to partner up with anyone who might be a threat, though. Name withheld. So they went for the Agile Alliance, apparently. But going back to what I'm saying really seriously, my friends, if you mean business with your career, you should get on the bandwagon with this thing called Agile. And if you want to change industries, you want to shift, the good thing to do is to first of all go for your CSM, okay? After you go for your CSM, go for your ACP. After you go for your ACP, whatever. Do whatever you want, but practice, okay? All right. So that's point number 3. You can see there's so many jobs out there. And the average salary for an Agile software developer is $93,439 for women, by the way. For men, that figure jumps to $101,584. That's not fair. But anyway, it is what it is. There are studies that will tell you why that is. That's for another day. So don't get me started on being an EEO and diversity and the whole 9 yards. That's for another day. By the way, that's coming to you very, very soon from me. Number 4, by 2030, artificial intelligence will automate 80% of routine Agile work. Signs of the times. Number 5, the U.S. government lost $32 billion to failed IT projects in 2017. See why we need to know this stuff? And for those of you that haven't heard me talk about the VCF project, the Virtual Case File project, and you've not really heard the story, go Google it. Virtual Case File project. I mean, this is not the first time the U.S. government has lost a ton of money in projects relating to IT. They lost a much smaller amount, but still significant, going into the billions much earlier on in this millennium. But $32 billion is pathetic. It's horrible. See? And do you know why they lost so much money in the Virtual Case File project? My friends at the FBI who have trained, you know why? They lost so much money because they chose a wrong approach. Go read up about it. They chose a predictive approach instead of an agile approach. Consequently, things went downhill pretty fast. And they tried to resurrect the project a number of times as a Sentinel project, as this project. And anyway, finally, they ended up doing it. How? Using an agile approach. Seriously. You might want to go read that up. Number 6, over a quarter of manufacturing organizations rely solely on Agile. What? 27.4% of manufacturing organizations rely solely. This is not like half on Agile, half on predictive. Solely on Agile. Wow. Whereas 56.6% rely on a combination, a hybrid. You're telling me that over 50% of manufacturing organizations use Agile or hybrid? Wow. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to stay in the dark ages, that's all well and good. But the reason why I'm bringing this to you is to make you more aware. If you're a PMP, you need to be in this training that I'm starting on Saturday. Even if you missed the first session, sign up and be in the second. And I'm going to give you 60 days of access to view all of these videos again and again. And I'm also going to give you additional content that will cement your understanding of Agile. I want you to feel strong and powerful and capable to be able to use this. So the training that Roy and I are going to be giving to you, it is going to make you very hands-on, very capable. We're not rushing trying to dish out, material for an exam or anything like that. No. We really want you to understand these concepts because we've seen them work. All right, number 7. Agile projects are 28% more successful than traditional projects. And that is from PwC. I know some folks will argue that it's based on the industry and such, but there you are. That is from PwC. They don't mess around. Number 8, the average Agile project manager salary is $84,134 in the United States. And we're not talking about the developers. The last stat I showed you, what's the developers? Developers make big bucks, Project managers do too. But the average Agile project manager salary, according to Glassdoor, is $84K, $84,134. Point number 9, of failed Agile implementation, 63% of respondents in one study blamed the clash between their business's culture and Agile's business philosophy. So what is Agile's business philosophy? Agile's business philosophy is really one about the value that you bring. It's not about doing projects for doing sake. It's not about trying to stay on a schedule. No. It is about value, and it's about delivering value fast to the customer. If you haven't looked at the Agile manifesto, I want to invite you to, with me right now, let's just take a look at a few things that the PMI is trying to sensitize you to in the Agile practice guide. Unlike your PMBOK guide, I hear through the grapevine that this is not like Ambien. Okay. Let's get going. I know my PMBOK Puritans won't like that. Let's go to page 8. It says, thought leaders in the software industry formalized the Agile movement in 2001 with the publication of the Agile Manifesto. Manifesto for Agile Software Development. And here in figure 2-1, it says, we are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others to do it. Through this work, we have come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Let's talk about that for a second. It's not about the processes and tools, my friends. I often say great project management is made great, not because of software tools. It's made great by the great minds and the great attitudes behind the tools. And the Agile Manifesto underscores that. Work in software over comprehensive documentation. It's not all about the docs. It's all about, can it leave the doc to actually function? Can it set sail? Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. A lot of times through negotiation, people are a little bit hostile towards each other. The manifesto says it's all about looking at yourself as one unit, being collaborative, one team, responding to change over following a plan. By the time the plan impedes you to the point that you are no longer offering value, you're on schedule, you're on track. You're following quality as identified by certain individuals, but you're not offering value. You're not satisfying the customer. That is not a success. It says that is, while there's value to the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. In addition to that, we have the 12 principles behind the Agile Manifesto. I want to invite you to look at those in your own spare time. It's on page 9. I'm actually going to talk about this through training that we're going to start on February 1st. Go to agileprinciple.com. If you're a project manager, PMP, you got no clue about Agile, that's fine. Just come in. We're going to show you what exactly it is. We're going to help you know what the tools are, explain it to you so that by the time you're done in 4 weeks, you will be on your way to building even more on what we have taught you. But you'll be able to take tools and methods and techniques and ideas and begin to implement those into your organization. A lot of people are wandering around unarmed. You need to be armed with Agile because it's going to help you on a rainy day, on a crazy day. I got a phone call from someone who I had taught in the past, and this individual said, Phil, I need help. I don't even know what to do on this project. I said, that sounds like an opportunity. He said, what do you mean? I said, it sounds like an opportunity for Agile. He said, really? I said, yeah, why don't we give it a try? Let's take it for a spin. Who's your sponsor? He told me who the sponsor was. What does your sponsor want? I actually don't know, Phil. Okay. Why don't we start off with user stories? And by the time we were done, by the time I had shown this individual who I had taught many, many years before that, by the time I had walked this individual through how to extract this information from the stakeholder, that was a home run, not only for that individual, not only for the sponsor, but for the department. How awesome to be able to bring out your heat. I call it packing heat. A project manager's got to pack some heat because you never know which one you need to use. One day you need to be Bruce Lee. The other day you need to be Jackie Chan. The next day you need to be Sly Stallone. So you gotta be armed, my friends, with all of these tools. I just see these as possibilities, and you never know which one is going to help you. If I didn't know about Agile, I would have been trying to solve an Agile problem with a predictive approach. But I was so glad I was able to help this student. I was able to show how to work with uncertainty, and Agile is a great way of working with uncertainty. So by the time we're done, like I said, we're going to be showing you all of these tools, these techniques, these ideas. We're going to be explaining them to you one by one, the XPs, the TDDs, everything. We will explain this to you, and you will know which one suits your company best. But a lot of times, project managers think Agile is trying to urge them to become developers. No, it's not. That's not Agile. So go to agileprinciple.com. And by the time we're done, you'll understand it a lot better. Okay? Let's move on to our final slide, our 10th point in the world of Agile. 76% of businesses in Netherlands and Belgium believe that Agile projects will outnumber waterfall projects by 2020. And you know what? I think they're absolutely correct. So the website is agileprinciple.com. As I said in the beginning, you need to be in the training. If you're a PMP, a CAPM, working on your PMP, working on your pilot PMP, working on your current PMP, working towards the 2020 PMP. Why wouldn't you be in this class? I don't understand. Why not? Because by the time we are done, you'll be liberated. You'll be free. You won't feel like you're in a cage. Have you ever been in a company where your boss says a buzzword and it makes you nervous? I have. If you don't want to be nervous around Agile, get to know it. Get to understand what it eats, what it drinks, how you can pet it, how you can keep it in its proper place so it doesn't bite you. Or should I say so your boss doesn't bite you. When your boss asks you to run a sprint and asks you to conduct a retrospective. What's that? We're going to show you what that is, all right? Any questions before we end for today? I think I have made a case for Agile, and you are now fully aware. You can't say, Phil, you didn't tell me. No, I've told you. I brought it to you loud and clear. I've told you where you need to go, what you need to do. Go to the Scrum Alliance site if you're thinking of taking an exam. That will get you in ship shape to begin thinking broader about Agile and Scrum. You need to go to the Scrum Alliance site. I know some people say, Phil, why aren't you sending me to the PMI site? Because I can only speak from my experience. Before I went for the ACP, I went for the CSM, and it was the best decision I had ever made. It really was. And you know what I like about the Scrum Alliance? They gave me my own page. I have my own page on the Scrum Alliance website. There it is. That's your friend Phil, and all the members do. I mean, how cool is that? But that's not why I went for the Scrum certification with the Scrum Alliance. I actually did because I knew I needed to change something. I knew that something needed to give. I wasn't getting enough ammo, enough heat. I had to get the heat. I was so glad when I met Tom, and the rest is history. I got Scrum certified, and I said, Tom, am I allowed to train this stuff? He's like, of course, tomorrow. If you wanted to train it Now, start doing it. But hey, first do your Scrum exam. And I sat down there. I didn't leave the class that evening. I was the first person in my class to take the CSM exam, and I got certified right there. And Tom had barely left the vicinity. He's like, wow, that was vicious. I'm like, I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm looking forward to drinking some more. So I got ACP certified after I got CSM certified. And I have a lot of individuals on my team, great people, who train this stuff. Bob, Ian, and my friend Roy, who is going to be delivering the training to you. Okay, so if you really mean business, if you truly mean business with your Agile certification, or you mean business, just getting to know a little bit more about Agile, as I said, the website is agileprinciple.com. All right? Oh, my friend Jay Billman, thank you very much for chatting in. I hope you can attend it. I really do hope you can attend it, because the world of Agile is such that going the wrong way can lead to one's getting lost. But no, with us, with Roy and myself, we will guide you through the myriad of tunnels. There's so many tunnels. And, the cool thing is Roy is extremely patient, very, very patient. I mean, the way he breaks things down, and he's also very much like your friend Phil in that he's a pragmatic trainer. He doesn't believe in just theory. He will give you examples that are so vivid, or he will actually ask you to do things that practicalize Agile and Scrum. And the cool thing about both of us is we're both junkies for project management. We love project management. Whether you want to spin it as hybrid or predictive or Agile, we love what we do, and we love it when people get it. All right? So if I were you, I would hop on down to agileprinciple.com, okay? Go to that website. We look forward to seeing you. There's the flyer. For those of you that say, Phil, I don't really understand. When is it happening? What are the details? They are the details on the screen, all right? Just go to agileprinciple.com. For the next 4 weeks, we're going to be training 2 hours, just 2 hours, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be breaking down a lot of the mysteries of Agile. And we're also going to be helping those of you who are PMPs to marry the world that you were once in to the world of Agile. We're also going to be helping those of you getting ready for the ACP or the PMP to bridge the gap. Predictive, Agile, the melting pot of hybrid, and many, many terms such as those you see on the screen. Also bringing the leadership slant to it. So what we have done in the curriculum is we have broken it down into the Agile basics. So we're going to be focusing a little bit heavily on Scrum because it provides a very accessible model and a little bit of Kanban, and that will help you understand and embrace the ideologies of Agile a little bit more. And then we will go into the process concepts of Agile. We'll marry all of those areas of knowledge that you know. We will be showing you how this maps to Agile. It's a truly remarkable course, and a lot of people do not train Agile in the way you see it delivered. Also, the people piece, the interpersonal skills, and so on. How do they map to Agile? And the business, the mindset for the business. We will be showing you that as well. So the PMI's talent triangle is going to be very well covered. All right? So thank you very much. If there are no further questions, I want to say thank you to you, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Take care and keep things agile. Bye for now. I did get a question that asked, if I am not aware of Agile, will this course be a good course for me? Absolutely. We are not making any prerequisites of you needing to be ACP or PMP or CAPM even. You could be entirely green, like the Incredible Hulk. Come along.